Captain Rendrag here. As you can see, something big has been trying to make a nest over there. Maybe a coyote or something up back here. Now we're going to get into a little bit about the history of this area. Now, besides the cemetery being behind us, we have a very abnormally large open field. Now, yes, way back to this prior, this is farming area inside of here. So definitely some sort of farming produce was made inside of here. But we go prior to that. We're going to go back into the Revolutionary War. And no, I have not found artifacts yet. If they are in here, then they would definitely be probably rotted, especially being musket balls or something, because this area floods quite often. Not the best area for encampment. But before the Redlegs would join up with the Kentish Guard up in Warwick, the Coventry Redlegs base of operation was right here. A lot of their camps, a lot of their drill for Coventry was done in this area. Coventry back in the day was kind of split up into a bunch of little towns. That's why we have like rice and all that other stuff that was made inside there. Now it's a very, very large town. Being one of the largest towns in the United States, it doesn't make sense. It's one of the largest towns in the smallest state in the United States, but it's right here. Now, Coventry itself has a lot of history that ties back to the Rev War, and it also has a lot of history that ties back with the Native Americans. And we could go as far back as to say King Philip's War, which is one of the most brutal conflicts to step foot in this area. Thousands of undocumented deaths between both sides. And there's no doubt that that area, definitely King Philip's War, affected Coventry. Coventry was a very... it was an up and growing town. It had a lot of stuff inside of here, and the natives were right outside. I mean, right outside. Someday I'll get into the Payne House and how that structure survived the King Philip's War. We'll go over to the story of that. But before I do, I'm actually standing inside of a field where there was a very, very small skirmish between the natives and, of course, the invading forces trying to take out the Indians in this area. So way before the Redlegs were here, a little skirmish inside of here. Nothing big, nothing extraordinary, nothing to write home to, but yeah, definitely a couple fatalities in this area. I would definitely tie that into maybe why the cemetery behind us isn't at rest. There might be natives still back here in the area. The Native Americans really did not bury their dead. A lot of times they were up in trees or they found other stuff to do them. But the Continentals and the colonists, they would take it upon themselves to relocate some of the natives' areas and bury them in the ground, which, if you know anything about a lot of native folklore, they did not like that. And that would definitely keep their spirits roaming the area and not at rest. The natives believe that a lot of tribes, not all of them, but a lot of tribes believe that you go back into what you came from. They do not believe in saving stuff like structures. That's why you don't see a lot of them around. What you came from, you would go back into. It's only our silly culture that believes in saving stuff. But they did not. So we're going to get ready to head into that cemetery after a little bit of history I just gave you guys. Soak it all in, and if you guys ever want to come down here, I highly recommend it. It's a good hike. Stay out of the grass. As you can see, they cut a little path. They don't cut the whole thing. I don't know why. The grass is definitely full of ticks still now, and there are a lot of deer over here. So, and as you can tell, the wildlife is all amongst. There's coyotes and everything inside here. So if you come out here later on in the evening, you're going to brush along with some coyotes, some skunks. I know for a fact there's skunks in here. I've come across them a couple times. And definitely raccoons, trash pandas. Someday I'll tell you a story about trash pandas that it'll make you laugh. You know, why not someday? Well, I'll tell you it now as we're walking inside this cemetery. We're going to paint a picture. We're going to go back to Fort Adams. And I got a lot of stories about that structure. Can't tell them all in one setting. We were out there for a Civil War reenactment, and I'm in a camp with a guy by the name of Josh Lassard and my nephew, Mikey Boisvert. And as we were in there, now get this, during the day, there's this raccoon that comes flying out in the middle of the field. Not normal. You know something's not right with this raccoon, because not only is he out in the day, but he's flying at seagulls trying to attack him. Not flying, but jumping so high it looked like they were flying. Well, unfortunately, our good friend Captain Eneback, at that time, he's a colonel now, had to put it down. And as a reenactors, a lot of us carry lead slugs with us anyways for protection, depending on where we're at. Or some of them actually go hunting when they're at the areas. But as we were trying to put this raccoon out of his misery, we didn't want to shoot it at first. So he went in there and whacked it with a shovel, and the thing just stood up and hissed. So as it stood up and hissed, right there we knew something wasn't right with it. The captain actually loaded up a lead slug, and that was enough of that raccoon. He was taken off. Now you think that would be the end of the story. It is not the end of the story. Later on that night, little behold did we know that that rabid raccoon had some friends. And I am sleeping in my tent, and well, these little trash panda paws go under my tent. And at first I pull out my pistol and scream at it. It runs, thinking it's not going to come back. Well, a couple hours later, he returns, kind of like that movie Sometimes They Come Back. Really good movie, by the way, just not with raccoons. His little raccoon paws go under there, and he grabs my Irish Spring soap bar. Now, you wouldn't think like raccoons should be eating soap, anything should, but I guess there's fats inside there that attracted this thing. And I got a little nervous, and at that, I will admit this, I abandoned my nephew and my friend at that time and slept in my car. I did not want to be getting ripped apart by a rabid raccoon. Was I a coward? Maybe. Was I the smart one? 100%, because let me tell you something, 8 shots in the stomach and a couple stitches later after getting ripped up by the raccoon, I think I was the smart one in that aspect. So there's my story about raccoons and trash pandas. I have nothing against the little guys, and yet still to this day, my older sister will put raccoon stuff all over my stuff, stickers, send me stuffed animals that have bars of soap that are raccoons. So there's your joke. If you ever want to send Captain Rendrag a raccoon, I'll give you the P.O. box someday, and you can do that. But we're going to get involved inside the cemetery. As you can hear, the beautiful sounds of the crickets. There goes some wildlife right there. That's definitely a squirrel. And we're going to pay our respects and do a little investigations. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.